Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, um, I'm gonna talk about explaining through my life to 24 years old, just about to 25. So, um, so I was born in October 10th, 2000, and basically we've done a lot of traveling together since when I was born. I don't get to remember, is that my mom, my dad, and my dad's mom took me to the Grand Canyon with them and stuff like that since I thought 2017 was my first time at the Grand Canyon, but no, 2017 was my second time at the Grand Canyon. And and then I've been to Grand Canyon 4 times, and that's all. And when I was a baby, since I don't get to remember, I was with the family to meet in Pine Top and somewhere and stuff like that. And for kindergarten, I went to Tavon Elementary School, and then I don't remember when I did. I was born with behavior problems somehow, and all of a sudden I've had behavior problems somehow. It's just I've been going through that quite sometimes, and it's feeding me up on that. But I just want to be a regular person, and I was wished to be born to be a regular person on daily basis, to never have behavioral problems, to hit other people or smack them or something. But and and the preschool, where I went to preschool, I went to the one on somewhere on 52nd Street, somewhere I don't remember what it's called. And and um and for kindergarten I went to Tavon, and I remember making some friends. And and for first grade I went to Cherokee, and pretty sure I was misbehaving there, and then I remember hitting one teacher. But all of a sudden I do remember hitting teachers as a kid with behavior problems. Well, this has got to be embarrassing for me to go through that. And and then I went to Tavon for second and third grade. And then for Tavon, I remember meeting some friends there, and then I used to bring some toys like Hot Wheels to school to do during recess, to set up from the bleachers. And it was really cool, but I don't play with toys anymore, so I'm out of toys. And I got into trouble, a lot of trouble sometimes, since I remember I kept hitting teachers at Tavon, which was no good to have behavior problems like that. And then I remember I got sent to the principal's office for hitting all the teachers. And I must have been in a lot of trouble, and probably I got suspended or not. But and I remember in third grade I got in big trouble one time, since I was disobeying doing priorities in class. And then when I was sitting right facing the teacher, I kicked the teacher's leg and got in big trouble. And I lost my recess time back in third grade. And then and then and then all the teachers were mad at me for making shit up. But how it happens with people with autism and stuff like that. But it's just ridiculous how autism makes people like that, like new people like that, and the way they're born and stuff like that. But um, pretty sure I lost recess a couple times at Tavon, which was, I don't know how I made Tavon a horrible school, how I couldn't see how to behave right in Tavon, and then now all of a sudden I was struggling, I was misbehaving and going through all the problem, and then having some behavior problems and stuff like that. And after third grade, I transferred over to Hopi Elementary School back in fourth grade and fifth grade, which is I went to Hopi for 2 years, and I did well in Hopi other than me being distracted with my thoughts and during priorities to not pay attention in class and can't see how to focus right and and this has to drive me nuts going through that. But luckily I made new friends there and got along with them. And is there anything I remember in Hopi? um what we do in Hopi? I remember in Hopi we did a colonial day in fifth grade to make candles. And 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 then and all of a sudden I used to eat a lot of crappy food through my child ages. And then I finally got out of it somehow, since I gotta stay out of sweets. All of a sudden, I was a slow runner. Like, not even joking, but. And I made a lot of friends at Hopi, and then. And then, and then, and then after Hopi, I went to Ingleside for 6th and 7th grade. By all means, I go through this every time, since this is kind of ridiculous how it's feeding me up. How I was like a nut job at middle school to make other people make fun of me, or somehow. How most people at Ingleside were having behavior problems, since I went to Ingleside for 2 years, and then so at Ingleside it made it I made it a tough school for me over there, since there was a lot of people with behavior problems, and there was a lot of bullies and stuff like that. What I found out about bullies is that they had most of them have a lot of them have family that have done drugs and stuff like that. And like, I just felt like it would have been nice if I stayed at Ingleside for the whole time. And then and then no thanks to what this happened, how the teachers had to get rid of me because I was bossing other people around, and they would not listen to me, and they would not stop making fun of me or something like that. All of a sudden at Ingleside, I was completely a nut job, trying to be convinced to take other people's side to mess around and stuff like that. And then I don't deserve to take other people's side to piss people off somehow. But completely ridiculous. And like, I was born being antisocial at some point. But in 8th grade, I went to Mojave. And I didn't like 8th grade because I went to Mojave. 8th grade was not good, since I was unfocused in middle school somehow. And I got in trouble. I got in a little trouble once at 8th grade. Since I was disrespecting a para in industrial arts in a workshop class since what I did, and then what to not listen, just finished my word search. But all right, speaking of being in a little trouble in middle school, I actually got in a little trouble in 6th grade after reading class after getting back from lunch and recess in Ingleside. And then because the reason I got in trouble after reading class is because I was making too much noises over and over again, and to distract other people from reading, which was not the best thing. But and next other days I didn't exist making noises, and that's all. But for high school, I wanted to go to Archaea High School by my place to do walking distance to get to high school, like Archaea High School, to hang out with my other friends, to exist in their lives. But then I started to not imagine myself being there at Archaea High School. It's just that I'm kind of the embarrassment to get lonely around school and stuff like that, since I was born like that, being lonely sometimes, even at Ingleside, and that's all. But luckily, I got to go to Arcadia after high school, after 4 years of high school. But all of a sudden, I just had a thought about this the other day, that Arcadia area and Phoenix have became a nut job. How they don't have any autism programs around. Like Archaea High School does not have any autism program, but there's some people with behavior problems at Arcadia area, and somehow they're gonna be less crazy people where I work and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, I had to end up going to Saguaro High School. I went to Saguaro through the entire high school year and never switched schools. I went to Saguaro for the whole high school year, 9th grade through senior year, freshman through senior year. And speaking of Saguaro, what started to give me a heart attack was me making things up in a dream world to piss someone off who gets pissed off over gym class, stuff like that, which is the friend I used to have who doesn't exist in our lives since he now moved to Colorado. I was like, you know what, whoever, you're not a good friend. And I wrote him a note twice, and the second time I wrote him a note, he destroyed it. But biology was a little difficult, so I took in freshman year. And sophomore year, I took chemistry and algebra. Oh, those were the worst. Screw algebra. Algebra is challenging to learn. And in my junior year, I took geometry and earth science. And oh yeah, and I've taken band class and Hopi, Ingleside, and Saguaro for sophomore year, and they were the worst. I was not well trained to learn how to play an instrument or anything. And in junior year, I took art class. It was okay, but art was kind of stressful somehow. And on my senior year in high school, I took resistance training, I had a good senior year in high school. Here, before I talk about that, I'm going to talk about someone I wish to be well trained to be ready to do some while I was 15. I wish I was ready to drive when I was 15, to learn how to drive in some city roads with a permit while having 15 and while being 15, and then get myself prepared to get my license while being 16. But I actually got ready to drive when I was 17, almost the end of the school year. And I got my permit when I was 17, and it took me a while to get my permit right after the summer vacation. And then tried to make it 6 months of me having a permit, but I didn't pass my tests on parallel parking at the DMV. But then later on in the summer, I passed the test for my license, and I got my license when I was 18. Same with my coworker at my work, that he wasn't ready to drive until he was 17 to be ready to drive. And since I didn't realize that, and when people go to high school, they can start learning how to drive. They can start getting ready to drive while you're 15, and then get your license at 16. But so far, my dad took me driving when I was 15 and into the dead end area, and then I accidentally made a difficult decision to not want to drive at 15, but I just got myself ready to drive since I was too nervous to drive when I was 16 because of car accidents, but I survived. And I had my permit during the senior year, and then in the summer of 2019, I got my license. And after high school, I started having a job at Fry's through 90-day job training program. And it was an okay job, even though bagging groceries were challenging, and same as doing go backs too, since I really get confused a lot how aisles trick other people where to put those aisles and stuff like that. Since what we did at Fry's, it was me, two of my friends, Jack and Joaquin. We did bagging groceries, collecting carts, and cleaning freezer doors, and then we saw did the new bananas and stuff like that. And after Fry's, after Christmas break, I started working at Safeway for 2 years since I was a courtesy clerk. Oh yeah, I was a courtesy clerk. We were courtesy clerks at Fry's too, and then now after Christmas break, after being done with Fry's, I actually got a job at Safeway back at the end of January of 2020, and most of my life working at Safeway was bagging groceries and collecting carts. But what was so ridiculous is that doing a lot of go backs, they were so hard to get to notice every aisle and stuff like that, where they go. And all of a sudden, when the coworker was right behind me, I was like, it was like tiring, and I just left the cart and just ditched it. Wasn't cool. But when I was working at Safeway as my second job, there was that one time that the boss asked me to stay an extra hour, and I said no, and then I knew I was going to be told not to say no, because that's being a bad employee to stay for an extra hour. But I'm well trained. I never expect those to happen before. But oh yeah, I knew that happened when my dad used to work for Trader Joe's. Back when my brother and I were in elementary school, and me in middle school, and he stayed for an extra hour. How it got so busy, and then I think in late October of 2021, I started being a deli clerk, and deli was a lot of work, and it wasn't so hot that I did. I was so slow on getting the shredded chicken done to get them put in the aisles for customers to get. I must have worked at a deli for like 3 or 4 months, and it was complicating, but my favorite at deli was taking their orders for chicken and salad and stuff like that. But thing I couldn't get to do is cutting the meat and the electric meat slicer. That's all. And that's all. And then I stopped working at Safeway in February of 2022. And after Safeway, I started being a restaurant delivery driver at Domino's, since my goal was to deliver pizzas once in my life. And I got what I wanted, to pick what location I want to work at Domino's at. And I've been working at Domino's for 3 years now, since I've been enjoying it so far. But the mistakes I couldn't see was that we're supposed to use the app all the time, the Domino's app all the time, for customers to have a notification if their pizzas show up to their house. And I got written up a couple of times for not using the app, but I learned fast enough to use the app. And my job at Domino's is definitely better than grocery store jobs, since I was well taught how to deliver pizzas to an apartments, well, and some stores, and that's on houses. And yeah, and then that's my life. Thanks for watching. And that'll be it for the video, and then I'll hope you guys have a good night, and then I'll see you guys next time.